coaching. Kunoa coaching.
Well, welcome to the Kuno podcast today, everybody. My name's Marie Oldfield, your host, and I've got Jyotsna with us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Marie. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
It's a real pleasure to have you on because I know that a lot of people are discussing self-publishing. So just as a bit of background, do you want to give the listenership just a bit of an idea of who you are and how you got where you are?
Sure. I'm the founder and CEO of Happy Self-Publishing, and we are right now on a mission to elevate the consciousness of humanity one book at a time by helping visionary leaders to package their expertise into a best-selling book in the easiest possible way so that they can use their book to grow their audience, make a bigger impact, and make this world a beautiful place. So that's what we do at Happy Self-Publishing. We help authors who want to self-publish their books by providing them all the professional services they need, like cover design, editing, formatting. There are like 100 things that need to be done before a book gets published, right? So my team takes over all those tasks and eliminates the overwhelm for the authors.
So this is a real hot topic at the minute because people are all talking about, how do I package up my expertise? I want to write a book. I think it's going to get me more exposure. What are the kind of basic things that people need to think about before they start down the road of kind of trying to write a book?
Yeah, I think in my opinion, writing is the toughest piece. Publishing and marketing are not that difficult. And that's for me, but I'm sure there are other authors who would say something different. So when it comes to writing, I think the first thing one needs to keep in mind is the purpose for writing the book. Because if we do not have clarity around the why behind writing the book, it's going to get procrastinated because other urgent projects will take over and you will not finish the book. Like most people, right? Most 9 out of 10 people I meet say that they want to write a book someday, but very few people actually become published authors because those who have a strong reason make book writing their priority. Once the reason is established, the next thing you need to consider is who is this book for? Because you may want to share your life story, your experience through the book, but the book is not about you, the author, it's for the reader. So you need to have a clear definition of who your target reader is. What are their pain points? What are their goals that this book is going to help them achieve? And then once you understand this, then you see if there is a match between your expertise and the pain points of your reader and make that your book's topic. And just by sharing your life story and making it truly authentic to you, the book automatically is going to be different from the thousands of books out there on that topic. So I think getting clarity on the purpose, the reader, and the topic, these are the foundational steps before you start writing the book.
Is it a case of kind of going out into who you think your readership is and trying to figure out what it is that they need from you before you even start? Because if you're writing a book can be, 200, 500 pages, it can be huge. So if you write that whole thing and then realize it's not addressing a need, then that's a lot of work. So is there more work to be done up front in terms of research?
Yes, this is such a good question, Marie, because authors write books at different stages, right? There are some people who are already professional, they have 30 years of experience in a particular industry, and then they venture out to become an author. And they probably have a huge audience already. In that case, it makes it a lot easier to reach out to that audience and check with them if that topic would resonate with them. And they may be writing blogs or having their podcasts. So they're constantly in touch with their clients and followers. So they kind of get a sense of what their audience needs, or they can just do a survey and find out of these 3 topics, which one resonates with you the most, and they can write a book on that. But there are also these authors who could be newbies in their industry, but they still have a valid and a very important message to share. So they don't need to wait for another 10 years to build their audience. They can just go with what their inner intuition tells them to write about. But to quickly validate that, you can go into Amazon and see how the other books in that topic are doing, right? If nobody is buying those books, they will have a very low rank on Amazon. But if everybody is buying the book, it'll have a top rank. So depending on how the other books are doing, it kind of gives you a validation if your book around that similar topic will also sell.
So once you've kind of figured out that you have got a message and people are interested in listening to it, and then you want to try and plan the book, Are there any techniques to this? Because I've seen lots of different ways of kind of trying to plan it and then kind of look at, does your marketing tactic fit in with the way that you're planning the book? How much do you need to think of as you start to kind of plan the chapters out and plan the book?
Yeah, the planning stage is as important as the writing. So once you have the foundational steps about the topic and all that ready, then the most important step is having the outline ready before you start writing the book. Otherwise, you may write 200 pages and you may not like it, you may feel lost, and you may just get demotivated. But if you have an outline in place, it acts like a GPS and it guides you as to what should be your next step. So it's really an important exercise that I ask all my clients to do. Just first do a brain dump, just come up with every other idea that you can think of related to that book's topic. It could be your personal stories, your case studies, some quotes, or any idea that's closely related to the book can be just added to like a mind map or a brain dump, and then see how your book is going to take your reader from point A to point B. And whatever topic fits into that journey, add that to your book. There will be some things that will not fit into that map. So please feel free to remove them for now. Don't try to, pack your book with everything that you know, because that would really overwhelm your reader. So just have what's needed for your reader to go from point A to point B, and then try to put them in a logical sequence. So there are different ways to outline a book, like having a modular framework or a sequential framework, or just having them like as a numerical framework, like the top 25 things you need to do to build your leadership skills or something like that. So there are different frameworks you can choose, but whatever be the framework, it has to have a logical, should make logical sense to the reader. So that's the way to have the outline in place. Once you have the outline in place, you need to also build your writing routine, which could be different for different people, but just create a plan. Firstly, you start with when you want to launch the book. A lot of authors don't think about this. They think that let me take however long it takes to write the book, but having a clear enough launch date would really compel you to stick to the plan. And then decide your book's title and subtitle, design your book's cover, and let the world know that you're writing a book. Put it out on social media. It could be scary, but it really helps you to finish your manuscript, because now your mom, your aunt, and everybody else knows that you're writing your book. So just let the world know. And thirdly, make sure that you have a dedicated space in your house or in your office, a dedicated time, and a decluttered desk where you can sit and write every single day. Track your progress in a track sheet on a daily basis. Have an accountability partner, and make sure that you keep reconnecting with your purpose every single day, so that you know why you're writing the book. Having all these small little disciplines in place, rituals in place, will help you to finish your book in 3 months or less if you're writing a nonfiction business book.
That's interesting, because a lot of authors say, you should write book 2 before you start to do any marketing, because then you've got another book to fall back on. So you've got book 1 and 2, and you should think about it like that. Whereas you're saying put out the cover and see what people think. And I think in some ways that's better, because actually then you're feeling out, do people like this? Do they want this? And then you could maybe change the direction as you're going. Because if you've already written 2 books and people don't like the 2 books, then you're kind of stuck when you've got the 2.
Yeah, this is a very valid point. There is no one right approach to this, Marie. It all depends on why the author is writing a book. Now, there are 2 types of authors that I've seen. One who loves writing, and they identify themselves as writers, and they want to make writing as their main career or a huge part of their business. So what they would do is they would aspire to write one book after the other and build an entire catalog of books, so that they can dominate that particular category and be a leader in that space. So anybody who's looking for a particular topic in Amazon, their books should keep coming up. And the reader of your first book would want to read your next and the next and the next. So that's one way to plan your book business. The other way, which I think is more feasible for first-time authors who are already entrepreneurs, is to use the book as a way to position yourself as the go-to expert in your industry, so that by reading your book, you will get clients for your coaching business, for your online courses, for your programs, and everything else. So for such people, you don't have to write one book after the other. You may probably write one book in 5 years, and that's absolutely okay, because you'll put all your marketing efforts in promoting that one book, which is good enough to create a 7-figure business in the back end. So those are the kind of clients who typically work with me. They don't really love writing, but they have a message and they want to share it through the book, so that it's like that premium, positioning that they get, so that they can attract the right clients for their business.
And once you've kind of written the book and you're going into the publishing part of it, there's many options. There's indie options and Kindle and just printing it off and then just selling it. So what does somebody do when they've written the book and then they want to get it out there?
Yeah. So if you have a huge audience, or if you're already a celebrity in your space, it's definitely worth it to approach literary agents and see if big publishing houses like the big five out there are willing to publish your book. If you ask me what is more advantageous, I would always go with self-publishing. But a traditional publishing house gives you that credibility. It's a nice thing to be associated with a big brand. And they will also put your book in bookstores and the airport stores and things like that. These may not really result in a lot of money, but it definitely makes you feel good. And if you already are an established brand, you can consider that. But if you're a first-time author who is just growing your business, then I would ask you not to waste your time waiting for a publishing house to accept your manuscript. Because even if they do, you need to wait for another couple of years to actually have your book published. But instead, you can just go ahead and self-publish your first book. You can use distribution platforms like Amazon to have both your ebook, your paperback, and your hardcover published. There are these great print-on-demand options, which means you don't have to locally print your book and stock it in your house and ship it every day. Websites like Amazon will take care of all of that. You just need to professionally get your book cover designed, professionally get the interior designed, and also the book edited. And then once you create your account on Kindle Direct Publishing and upload the book, it can be available globally in multiple formats. And I think that's the cheapest and easiest and the fastest way for first-time authors to make sure that their book is published.
You're listening to the Kuinua podcast. If you want to ask a question to our experts, just go to kuinuacoaching.com and you will find the link to the podcast where you can leave us a voice message or send us an email and we will ask your question direct to the expert. That's kuinuacoaching.com. Kuinua Coaching is set up to offer mentoring, coaching and courses in leadership, negotiation and soft skills. If you're interested in finding out more about what Kuinua Coaching has to offer you, you can get in touch via Facebook, Instagram. You can type Kuinua into Google. You can email us on kuinuacoaching@gmail.com or go to our website at kuinuacoaching.com. That's kuinuacoaching.com. How important is the kind of the write-up on the book, so the kind of book cover and the little abstract that says what the book is about? How important is that for people making decisions on your book?
I think that's super important. And that's why we ask our clients to think about their book's title even before they start writing the book. Because people are going to make that decision based on the title and then the cover and then the reviews on your Amazon page and then your book's description. These are some of the things that people look at before making that buying decision. So I feel that the title need not be too long. In fact, it should not be too long. It should probably be just 1 word to 3 words long, so that when you go on a podcast, you can easily tell the name of your book and people will remember. And the subtitle of the book has to be more descriptive. It should be longer. It should talk about the pain points your reader has. It should talk about the benefits of reading the book. And if you're very clear about who your reader is, it should also describe who your reader is so that it has that personal connection with them and they will feel like picking up the book. So definitely spend your time in brainstorming a lot of title and subtitle ideas. And if you already have an audience, run a poll and ask them to vote. That way you can have that winning title for your book.
And how important is the marketing? Because obviously there's a huge amount of noise out there in terms of books and people doing certain things and especially in different industries. How can you work to get your message through that so that people can actually see it?
Yeah, this is so important, Mary, because a lot of authors, especially the ones who self-publish, think that the minute you hit the publish button on Amazon, Amazon is going to take care of your marketing. No, it doesn't work that way, right? Because every day, thousands of authors are publishing their books. So it becomes your responsibility to market your book. And I divide it into 2 phases, the launch phase and then the evergreen marketing that happens after the book is launched. So during the launch is when a lot of people make that noise. So start building your launch team months before your actual book is launched. Let the people on social media know that you're coming up with a book, and ask them to volunteer to be a part of your launch team and give them some cool bonuses. Tell them that you will give free access to your webinar, or some pre-launch author signed copies of your book. Give them something for free so that they raise their hand and volunteer to be a part of your launch team. These people will be the initial readers. They will be the initial supporters who will spread the word about your book. They will tweet about it. They will post it on Instagram. They will write reviews for your book. So the launch team members are really, really critical. At least aim for 100 people to be a part of your launch team. Once you do that, then try and run promotions during the initial days by price discounting your book, so that a lot of people will buy your book and your book has a chance to hit the bestseller charts on Amazon. And also try to go on other people's podcasts who have similar audiences, so that you can spread the word. So once you have that initial launch successfully done, then don't please forget the book and move to the next project. Make book marketing a part of your monthly marketing plan and keep doing something every month. You may want to go on somebody's IGTV show or YouTube channel, or you may want to run some Amazon ads on your book, but keep doing something every month so that there is this constant momentum that's happening around the book.
So this sounds like a huge amount of work. How does one person do it?
One person should not do it alone. Otherwise, it just becomes a crazy amount of work. And at the end of it, you should enjoy the journey of becoming an author and not get stressed and worked up. So my invitation to authors is, you could be a fantastic writer, you could be a great designer, you could be a fantastic marketer, but please do not do everything yourself. You may want to divide the tasks and see which are the tasks that can be done only by you, which could be creating the strategy behind the book, coming up with ideas to promote the book. So those are the things that you want to do yourself. Everything else pretty much can be outsourced, even the writing. So a lot of our clients hate writing, but they want to publish a book. So we assign them angel writers who can interview them and extract the book from them, right? But if you love writing, please write the book by all means, but then also partner with editors, start working with designers who can do their magic on the book's cover and the interiors, and also work with PR agencies and people like that who can bring their expertise to your book, so that you don't have to do everything yourself and you can focus your time on giving interviews in Mary's show and talk about the book. Those are the things that nobody else can do on your behalf. So please do those things yourself. Everything else can be outsourced to experts.
So let's say that somebody's been through this entire journey and they've done it themselves and they've put this book on Amazon and nobody's reading it and nobody's looking at social media and they've only got 10 people liking their posts. What do they do? What's the emergency first aid for the author that's struggling?
Yeah, I feel one should not just depend on their audience if they're just starting out. It's really important to nurture the relationships you have with other people, and that doesn't happen overnight, right? And you can't do this with the intention that somebody is going to help you and promote your book. That's why marketing and the promotion starts from the day you decide that you want to become an author. So genuinely start connecting with people in your industry, in your space. And people generally love authors, because the minute you say that you're an author, it gives you that, it creates that perception that this person should be intelligent and they know what they speak. So leverage that positioning in volunteering to be on other people's shows, their master classes, their mastermind groups, or whatever it may be, and provide a lot of value for free. Do these free webinars for others, give a lot of value. And then at the end of the session, nobody's going to mind if you say that, go check out my book on Amazon. In fact, they will love it, because it will be a good follow-up to the workshop that you have done. Right? So it's not just about running some ads and posting one post on Facebook and expecting somebody to buy your book. Constantly leverage the relationships you build over time and be in front of other people's audiences. And a lot of times this doesn't cost anything. It just costs your time and effort, but that will be well worth it if you are strategic about going in front of the right audience.
I have to say I've tried all these techniques because I do academic publishing, and when you do a paper, and it takes you about 8 months to do a paper because there's a huge amount of typesetting and proofreading and publishing, and then you have to do your own marketing, and it's tough. It's tough to get readers, but once they start coming in, and they start telling other people, then you start to build up an audience. So it's definitely not something that you can do in a week. It's something that you need to take time over and build a whole strategy. So that being said, we're coming up to the end of the interview, and honestly, I'm so interested in this topic because so many people keep asking about it. But do you want to kind of just give us an idea of where we can find you? And we will link everything down below so that you can click straight through and you can find out more about self-publishing. Where can we find you?
Sure. So for those of you who are watching us and who wants to immediately get started with your book publishing process, you can schedule a call with me by going to happyselfpublishing.com/apply, and we'll have a 30-minute book strategy session with you. But if you're in your early stages and you're still thinking about your book project, then I would suggest you to watch my 5-day bootcamp. I have the recordings available to you for you to have instant access. So just go ahead and check out happyselfpublishing.com/bootcamp, and it will take you to my 5-day author success bootcamp.
Fantastic. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you today. Thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you so much, Marie. I love this conversation. Thanks.
You've been watching on YouTube or listening on an audio platform to the Kuno podcast. If you like what you're hearing, then don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any amazing content, and don't forget to leave us a review.